So I've decided to create a new action platformer RPG game, and the main character will be based off the main character from the Knight's Blade, sort of like a spin-off series, and a general background story of the main character that we have. And I wanted to make this not because I ran out of ideas for any games, but because I wanted to improve the combat system made by this guy, which was just not really great. Unique combat system. Not so unique, huh? Right now we have a character that can move, jump, walk, attack, and then defend against any attack. I'm thinking about implementing a slime. So let's go ahead and implement a slime. And actually that is pretty evident over at the scene view over here. You can see this red line is the view of the slime, and actually that's pretty huge. The slime will also check for any ledges or cliffs that it may fall off so that it does not fall over. So whenever the player jumps into the red line, it will change over to a aggressive stance and then try to chase the player. And also try to attack the player. Like so. Oh. And I've went ahead and created a story. A nice little story with a nice little dialogue system that types in like a typewriter effect. And if you played Knight's Blade before, you should be pretty evident. So this platformer was actually inspired by Knight's Blade, and not because I didn't have any ideas to base the story off. And I was also inspired by a platformer game called Sword Ego that I played in the past. It was a mobile game with tons of RPG mechanics, and platformer. And it had a pretty good story to begin with, and it was a very fun game to play with. And by taking an inspiration from that, I've decided to create a game that is similar to that. So we've essentially made a system where the slime will follow around if the player gets too far away, and it will also try to look for player and sort of stop following. So if the player gets into the vision of the slime, either at the left direction or from the right direction, the slime will target the player and then follow it. And after it gets close enough, it will try to attack the player by simply jumping on it. And it is not jumping when it's like running, and then I don't know, maybe. Oh wait, actually make sure you don't get any input. You don't control the player. Because who wants to move a dead player, right? I don't want to move a dead player. See, I can move it. How is the dead player even responding to it? Exactly. And so far, after adding the rain and the UI for the health element, we have the following gameplay. Pretty satisfied about the final product and the finishing result, and I think we'll go with this type of theme, levels and then kind of weather, using the environment to sort of portray the scene of a little bit, sort of give a cinematic feel. Anyways, so yeah, this is how we'll be making this. I'll be adding a few levels and a little bit of story in it, but it will all be a linear gameplay.